Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Rockport Select Board meeting of Monday, February 9th, 2026. We're meeting here in the lower level of the Opera House, and it's just about 6 p.m. So we've got a nice audience here. Welcome to everyone who's here. First item is amendments to the agenda. Does anybody have any amendments? Nope. Next is public comment on non-agenda items. Anyone here to make a public comment on a non-agenda item? Okay. Next is the town manager's report and updates. John?
Far be it from me to slow things down.
That's right.
If you have not registered your dog by now, you are late. I'm going to just give you the bad news now. There's a $25 late fee for an overdue dog license, so just rip the Band-Aid off if you haven't done it. It'll make everyone happier in the end. We have nomination papers that will soon be available for a number of elected positions on March 2nd, beginning March 2nd for the June elections. We have 2 seats on the Select Board, 1 seat on the Library Committee, 3 seats on the Budget Committee, and 1 seat on the School Board. Those are all 3-year terms. If you have interest, reach out to the town office, the clerk's office. That is the place where all election matters are handled, and they can answer any question you may have about how does this work, and what's this committee like, and how do they do what they do? And certainly I'm glad to answer any questions. If you have questions about, hey, I want to get involved, but where do I start? I'm glad to answer anybody's question about that. It can be a bit daunting to walk into town government and try to figure out what all of it goes with that can be, but it's really important. And I think we're seeing more and more, regardless of whatever your view of things are, it's important to have your voice heard. And in town government, every individual can have a big impact, and your voice is heard. And so anyway, that's my little pitch. I'll get off my soapbox, but certainly glad to answer any questions anyone has out there about what's available and how you can get involved. Next up, I want to talk about the police department. The select board met on the 26th of January to take action in response to the announcement of retirement by our dear police chief, Randy Gagne. And, Randy has been an important touchstone for me in the time that I've been here in Rockport and returned home. I don't know if it's a bunch of locals getting together and sort of understanding how it all works and trying to make town government work in 2026 now. But Randy has been somebody who feels very personally and very strongly about protecting all of us. And for those of you who know Randy, he doesn't do his job because it's a paycheck at the end of the day. He does it because he means it. It matters a great deal to him personally. And I think for him, when he agreed to come over and help Rockport out, had a very great career in the town of Camden, but came over to Rockport. And I just want to talk about his time in Rockport. Randy came over at a time when Rockport's police department was in a really tough way, and he got us back on our feet. Though that was before my time here, I certainly lived in town, and I felt it. And his departure at a time almost decades since he's been here, he has been a great leader. He's been he's a great individual to take our department in Rockport and have it all make sense. And I'm going to miss working with him in that capacity day to day. I told him he can't block my number on his phone because I'm going to call and I'm going to ask questions. But he has been a really important piece for me in my time here, but I think for all of us as residents. We all know that, and I'm going to miss having him come in and have us talk about how we can move things ahead and how we can make our town safer. We had a pretty tough situation a couple years ago with some hotels, and that's a very difficult thing because there's a lot of conflicting laws and needs, and you have a lot of it, and at the center of it all was somebody who'd been there and done it and came to this board and talked to residents and talked to neighbors and talked to business owners and said, look, this isn't great. There's a lot of things we see in our world that aren't great right now. We're doing the most we can to protect everyone the best we can. And I think in terms of what we have right now, there's a lot that we all agree with that isn't the way we want it to be. But I think what we all could hope for is that from person to person, we're all doing what we can, person to person, to make it better. And that room was a pretty tough room for this board and everybody. There was some expectations that were difficult to meet. But Randy was the only one who could navigate that and really say to people, look, I'm here for you. I'm here for all of you. You have a problem, you call my cell phone, I'm there. And I think it really eased everyone's mind, because at the heart of it, we had a police chief that cared. And it wasn't just about showing up and punching the clock at the end of the day. So I'm going to miss that. Like I said, I'm going to call him. He's planning for that. But I'm very appreciative of his time here. So it's going to be difficult. The board met that night, and I don't know if anybody is going to want to speak to that, but that was, and my letter to the town of Camden, which was discussed at their meeting, I think was quite clear. This is an arrangement that was very much set apart in 2016 based upon an individual and a need for a community. And the town of Rockport put itself in a position where if Chief Gagne is no longer available, then where are we now? And we have a circumstance where we can find a way we'll be able to get through. It's not going to be the same. It won't be the same department, but it will be, we're in a much different circumstance than we were in 2016, where we had no other option as a community. And so that was, I think in the spirit of that, I don't think it puts an end to, from my perspective, and I think the board's perspective of continuing collaborations or continuing dialogue. There's been a lot of word about the divorce. It's really popular on Facebook. We're talking about divorces. This isn't with Camden. This isn't about that. This is about one particular circumstance, and there may be another one that comes around the corner. And I think I'm going to remain open to that, and I'm sure the board will as well. So John has had his hand up, so I don't want to keep going.
I think you've said everything, and I would second all your thoughts about the service Randy gave, John, so thank you for that. But I thought it would be good that if you could just walk us through the transition, what's going to come next, and we're at full capacity now with, you might want to just walk through some of that.
No, absolutely. So we about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, November, in talking about what's to come, Randy and I discussed the potential of, what does the future look like? And looking at a situation where you do have one chief overseeing two departments, and what if? At either time, either community could have said we want to end an agreement, which is a possibility. But also there is, there's a need for some leadership at that time within our department that was based in Rockport. And so he and I agreed that creation of a lieutenant's position made great sense. We hired in that process Chris Young, who had a long career with the city of Rockland, originally a Rockport police officer in the mid-'90s, but a long career in the city of Rockland, eventually rising to the role of chief in the city of Rockland. And so Randy and I worked through that process and hired Chris as a lieutenant. So he's been in that number two position for the last year plus, and he's ready to step into that interim chief's role in now with Randy's absence here on the 19th. That we are independent of that, or I would say in conjunction with that, both with Randy's leadership and with Chris's leadership, we've been able to pursue filling some positions that we've had through the fall. Obviously, we had the unfortunate passing of Travis Ford, and we had we had one individual who retired and one who departed. So we had in a very short span, we were down to with 3 openings this fall, which made things very challenging for the department. But we've subsequently filled those positions. We're now fully staffed, and with an interim chief who will be able to oversee it all. So, there's obviously some issues in the handover of, okay, this is the budget, now you're ready to take over the budget and things like that at this time. But we're going to sort of keep moving along the same path that Randy, put us on. And I think there's going to be, there'll be some differences, I'm sure, but I'm sure there'll be successes that we haven't been able to achieve in the last 6 months because, unfortunately, we've been so short-staffed.
So he's interim. We have, what's the interim period
Well,
anticipated to be, or,
I think,
you know?
I think that the next point in the process is we need to go through the budget. We have a budget process that we need to pursue. There've been a lot of questions asked by the budget committee, by letters in the newspaper, online, about costs and what are the costs. We've got regionalism has been sort of a buzzword, and now it's being used in different ways. I think this is an opportunity that the town of Rockport needs to take to examine all of those futures. And I think we have a great group of officers here. I'm very encouraged about where we're headed. But, I think going through that budget process will be very illuminating about what's next.
That's the next step, okay?
Yeah.
Great.
But moving
Anything
ahead.
else on-
through-
I mean, I think you've said it publicly, and I think we've echoed that this was a shared position with Camden. The circumstances of how all this played out is there just wasn't an offer and an opportunity in the moment to immediately go back into the shared kind of arrangement. But that's not to say we're not always looking for those opportunities to work with our neighbors on both sides, so.
Absolutely. So, moving to another department, and then I'm going to keep this short. This will be the last thing I'll hit on. Abby Laird, our dependable harbor master, unfortunately, will be out the next several days and perhaps longer due to an accident at the Snow Bowl. Unfortunately, she was not in a good place, so she's out. If there's people who out there have questions on the harbor, feel free to filter them through me or through the town office. Abby's okay. She's at home. She's resting, recovering, and hoping her to be back with us very soon. But this is that time of year where mooring bills are available, and we've been delayed in that process because the registration is a registration sticker that goes and has to be part of that process. The stickers aren't available from the state, so we can actually register. So we're holding back those billing notices. We had moved a few years ago to having only email-based notifications of those bills, and so as a result, there may be some out there who say, well, where's my notice? And I haven't, there's a reason. And so we're sending a notice out to everyone to let them know there is a delay in this process, but just so everyone knows, it has nothing to do with, unfortunately, Abby's circumstance, but we'll continue to move forward. If you have questions about that, certainly call the town office, call the clerk's office, and they can maybe help you with more. Okay. That's it.
Any questions for John? Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. That we've got a committee resignation, Patrick Annis from the Harbor Committee, and we have meeting minutes from January 12th, our regular meeting on January 12th, 2026, and then our January 26th, 2026 executive session. And I just want to note that with respect to our minutes on January 12th, 2026, we will have appended to those minutes the statement that I read at the meeting that night regarding Rock Road. That was a specific request from Rob Daniger, and it really did represent the board's position on the Rock Road situation. So we'll include that in our, just append that statement to the minutes. So do we have a motion on the consent
Does
agenda?
that make it amended? So if I do that, is it,
I don't think it really, well, I guess it's not as presented in the packet.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so make it amend.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as amended with the additional statement for Rock Road included.
Okay, great.
Second.
Second, Kim. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's 5-0. Great. All right, now we move into action items. The first one is to act on the Board of Assessment Review reinstatement. And I see Carrie here.
Welcome, Carrie.
Come up and talk to us about this. Hi.
So, want to hear about it?
Oh, we do. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be seen. So as I said in the memo, we had our own Board of Assessment Review for quite a while, but we disbanded it in 2023.
Carrie, can you get the microphone closer
sure.
to your?
That better? Yeah. Okay, so we disbanded it in 2023 because they weren't getting any cases. And so they would, we would have attrition, people would move, and people would also get kind of bored because all we did was train and no practice. And so anyway, Knox County had a Board of Assessment Review that I had used in Camden a few times to good success. So we disbanded our bar in favor of going there. We did a charter change to allow that. And then we finally had a case. We first one in 10 years, and we went there, and they made a horrible decision. I was stunned by just how wrong they were. It would have been costly to us had it gone through, but we appealed it to Superior Court, and it took them 9 months to make their decision, but they made the correct one. It was actually, the decision itself was 28 pages, and it was incredible detail. The judge was taking the Board of Assessment Review in Knox County to school and just explaining to them in great detail everything that they did wrong. So, it cost us quite a bit of money. It never should have. But like I said, had we not defended ourselves, it would have cost us more.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than go through that again, so there were 3 members of the previous board still in town, and so I went to all of them and asked if they'd be willing to serve, and they said they would. So that would cut down on the training.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, maybe the thing to do would be rather than have a 5-member board, have a 3-member board. So fewer members, less training, and have two alternates, which we didn't used to have, so that should one of the 3 retire or not be around, we can bring somebody right in again without training. So, so I think it's a workable solution, certainly worth trying, and I ask for your nod of approval and appoint the members and all that.
Okay. So our first item would be to approve the reinstatement of the Board of Assessment Review.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion for that?
I move to approve the reinstatement of the Board of Assessment Review.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Second, John. Any discussion? All those in favor? Great. That seems like a sensible step,
Thank you.
given our prior recent experience.
Now, if I could just, you have 4 applications from the
Yes.
members there. I got the 5th one today. Can I give that to you?
Sure. Oh, this is Jim Chalfant's.
Thank you.
John, you want one?
I'll look on with, we're sharing
I don't want you
tonight.
to feel left out.
Michael and I are working together, on it, right?
Okay, so we have five members,
Yes.
potential members. 3 would be actual members and 2 would be the alternates.
Yeah.
So we can just go through each, is anybody here who's on? I don't
I don't believe so.
recognize it. I don't see anybody.
No.
So,
Good.
Charles, I do recognize you, but you're not on this list.
I used to be on the Board of Assessment Review.
Back in its heyday.
Do you want?
Just,
Okay.
So
Well, go ahead.
the 3 members
Yeah.
are, would be Tom Laurent, Bob Hall, and Bill Freeman.
Okay,
Okay, and then Tony is an alternate and James is an alternate?
Correct.
Okay,
okay, and we don't have a motion for
so we'll have to just make sure.
James.
terms. Yeah, we'll add that as
Okay, great. Well, I think I mean,
Do we need individual motions for them?
it's set up that way,
Okay.
so we could just move on through.
So I'll move to approve Robert Hall for the Board of Assessment Review with term ending in June 2029.
Do we have a second?
Six. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay. All those in favor? And we've got applications from all of them with good explanations of their background and experience, and Bob is one of the trained,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
All three of, the three are.
The three have,
Are
yeah,
already
they've
trained.
already served, yes.
Great.
Denise,
Okay, yes, John.
are they supposed to have staggered terms?
I don't,
Isn't
let's
that
see, it
what-
looks like
isn't
Tom
that the
Laurent
bylaw?
would be June
Yes, they are.
2028.
Yeah, so we need to, with the next motion, just adjust then for,
Well, we have,
Bob is June of 29, and
Bill
Bill is
Freeman
June
is
of 29.
2029, and then Tom would be June of 28.
But with three, one of them would need to be 27,
I see.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Or I should
Yeah.
say,
27, 28, 29.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
so would we
So-
just go in order? We'll make
Which would be
Bob Hall
26.
29.
26, 27, 28.
Well,
Bob-
nobody would
Bob
expire
Hall's
this year.
already
They're
29,
starting this
so
year.
we've-
Yeah,
I know, but
so
they'd
Bill
expire
will
in
be
June.
28, and Tom will be
Oh,
27.
we started with
Yeah,
Well, we've got to make one or the
Well,
other.
3 years from 26 would be 29, right?
but one would have to fill the, in between now to June.
Oh,
That's what I mean.
Okay.
So you'd have to, one would be
Confused.
26, one's 27, one's 28. I was still thinking of the old makeup of the committee, but you're
Okay.
right.
so do we undo the Bob Hall?
Right, because the 29 wouldn't be, that'd be 3+ years.
Okay, so will I rescind the
Sorry.
motion?
I don't know.
Rescind the motion to approve Robert Hall for a term ending in June of 2029.
withdraw my second.
Okay, and we
Okay.
all take away our votes? Okay,
Okay.
moving right along.
So now is he really 28?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I move to approve Robert Hall for the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending June of 2028.
Okay. Second with Michael. All those in favor? Okay.
Okay.
All right, next
And then
is
Bill is
Freeman,
2027.
Yep.
Okay, so I move to approve Bill Freeman for the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending in June 2027.
All right, second?
Second.
Kim? All those in favor? Okay,
And then I move to approve Tom Laurent for the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending in June of 2026.
and
correct?
if Tom is watching this, we definitely want you to re-up
Right.
for another 3 years.
Right, exactly.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay. The second,
Second,
John? All those in favor? 5-0,
Okay.
okay.
So for those that are alternates,
Yeah, what do we do with their
do
terms?
they have a term end?
I don't, do they?
Yes.
They do?
They do,
what
they stay on
will-
the same 3-year, you wanna.
So will they be
To
20?
stagger.
20,
I would say 28, 27 to give them as long as possible.
Okay.
If you
So we'll
could,
start with
especially
28
if they're
and
trained.
then move to
Okay.
27.
so I'll move to approve Tony Pinson for the Board of Assessment Review as an alternate with a term ending in June of 2028.
8, yeah.
Okay?
Okay, Michelle,
And the next one,
motion, who's got a
27.
second? Michael? All those in favor? Okay,
Okay, and then I'll move to appoint James Chalfant, is that how you say
Yep.
that? As an alternate for the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending in June of 2027.
Second.
Good work, everybody.
My
Kim,
math problems for
all those in
tonight.
favor? 5-0, great,
and
Carrie, you have your board.
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you.
great.
thank you,
great.
Carrie,
Thanks
for
for,
Thank you
putting
for-
this together. You did, this is an excellent group of board members.
I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, John.
yeah. But nobody go to the Board of Assessment Review.
That's
Just
right.
Take your
That's
taxes
right.
when you come. Okay, great.
Okay, now,
Next is Georgia Urso.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Yes,
you,
thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
We have Georgia Urso has applied to become a member of the Conservation Commission. Hello. Welcome. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and background?
Yeah, sure. So My husband and I moved to Rockport in fall of 2024. We actually had a little backyard wedding, so Rockport's really special to us. And I've been, to a lot of the different parks and stuff in the area. I recently graduated from University of Maine with a degree in botany. And I work with Bill Bowe on the Airport Advisory Committee. So he kind of plugged me in on this opportunity.
This is how it works.
Yeah. And of particular interest to me is the ash trees in Rockport and the threat of the emerald ash borer. I'm originally from Kentucky, and all of our ash trees were wiped out by the emerald ash borer. So when we moved up here and there were still ash trees, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I heard the news that the ash borer actually recently started working its way up the coast. So,
Well, that's really good timing too, because we've been recently approached about what are we doing about the emerald ash borer, and
yeah, so all of conservation is of interest to me, but that's kind of like my little special interest is doing some research on the different response plans by different towns in Maine, and how much more research and options there have been since they wiped out all the ash trees in Kentucky in the early 2010s. There's a lot more options and cheaper options for communities to kind of respond to that threat. So that's one of my special interests, but all of conservation is interesting to me, and I'd be looking forward to helping out the community in that way. So
great. Well, I think you. I'll talk to you later about the Parks Committee, because they are next week going to be discussing, or this week, tomorrow actually,
Oh, okay.
the emerald ash borer. Not that you have to jump into that, but I think we could really use the advice and what you know.
Okay, yeah. Well,
So this is
I'd
great.
absolutely love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Yes.
Any questions for Georgia? It's wonderful that you've stepped forward, and exciting to have you in your
Awesome. Thank you.
some of our meetings already. And great. Well, we're thrilled to have you in the community, and then also stepping up as a volunteer. So
Thank
that's
you.
great.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to?
Go for it, Michael. Oh, I move to approve Georgia Urso for the Conservation Commission with a term ending June of 2029.
All right. Let's see, Michelle did the motion, Michael did the second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all right, I gotcha.
Okay, next we have Palia Brandoff for Pathways Committee alternate. Is Palia here? Okay. We have the application. So do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve Paulia Brandoff for the CR Pathways Committee as an alternate with a term ending June of 2029.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. Great. I guess we'll follow the order of the agenda, but
There's a
we could jump, since there's another
Pathways.
Pathways Committee, Lenny Gronrus is
This
here.
Lenny person.
A little sketchy.
I'd be cautious.
This is manning the home. What's going on here?
Hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome.
Well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about.
Yep, Lenny Gronross, 148 Main Street. I was on this committee for years ago, until I got into a little bit of huff and walked out of it. Circumstances have changed. I've returned to kind of finish what I started. It ties in nicely with my other work in the community. I'm on the board of Legacy Rockport, Camden Rotarian, and I'm one half of the world-famous Graffin Brothers outfit. This has been a big part of my life since I moved to Rockport 23 years ago. I got to work with Rodney Lynch back when he was with the town, and we did a nice walkability study. And what was interesting to that was the tie between economic growth and walkability and outdoor recreation. and something that attracts a lot of people to towns like ours, and we need that.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people that walk on the streets of Rockport with no safe way to do that. I'm very proud of the Route 1 project up by Hannaford. I was a part of that. And it's nice to see people be able to walk on the side of the road with it, dragging suitcases rather than in the road with trucks and buses. And I'm very interested in the Route 90 project out by the high school. I've taken footage out there of people who had to walk on the side of the road to get to the ball fields, and that's not a safe way to do that. So I'm very interested in all the projects we have going, and I'm looking forward to serving again.
Great.
Yes, John.
Lenny, since you raised it, what issue was it that you were concerned about in the past, and what's changed?
When I left it the last time, the select board of this town dismissed some testimony between myself and an engineer, which they ended up building in the end anyway, after realizing that it was what was needed. And it's like, if I'm going to stand and put my effort in and testify between the select board and then be dismissed, that wasn't
That's not
cool
right.
for me, and I had better things to do. So that board doesn't exist anymore, so I'm happy to return.
What was the issue again?
I'm not going to get into details on it.
Oh, okay.
It was to me, a personal issue that I took, umbrage with, and saw it as a waste of my time at that point. This is not an easy task to take on. There's a lot of things and details, as
Yep.
we've seen with the Rock Road project.
Yep.
And you don't want to, if you don't want to put a ton of hours into something and then have it just be dismissed out of hand,
Yep.
there's other things to do.
Well, and it's great to hear about the Route 90 path, because that's something that I think this select board would like
A
to see.
lot of people
the
don't
pathways.
understand that some of these projects take multiple years
Yes.
of planning, grants, and permits and all that to make happen.
Yep. So it's good to have you wanting to come back.
So I move to approve Lenny Gronrose for the CR Pathways Committee as an alternate with a term ending in June of 2029.
A second.
Okay. All those in favor? Great. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We'll try to behave. Next, we have Richard Remsen is applying to join the Economic Development Committee, which, that's great. And I know Richard's been very involved in a lot of issues related to economic development in the community, and it's nice to see him stepping up and working with that committee. I think we've got their work plan later, too, so. Do we have a motion to?
I will move to approve Richard Remsen for the Economic Development Committee with a term ending in June of 2029.
Second?
Kim? All those in favor? Great. Well, it's wonderful to see
So many people.
new faces and people on our committees, because that is an important part, I think, of what helps Rockport function well, is we end up with people who come in with particular expertise that, we don't have, town staff don't have, but we benefit from people in our community who have that expertise and the time to help us. So thank you, all of you. All right. Next, we have committee bylaws. The first one is the Board of Assessment Review. Got bylaws that Carrie's already left, but I'm assuming Carrie worked on these bylaws. Do we have a motion to approve the Board of Assessment Review bylaws?
I move to approve the Board of Assessment Review bylaws as presented.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second, and then I have some things I'd like to.
Okay,
Just
so
discuss.
discussion.
Yeah. So the way this is written, we're going to have 3 members, which means a vote of 2 of the 3 creates a majority.
Or a majority,
and
yeah.
Can approve or disapprove of anything. Election of the officers, or election of the chair, so 2 of the 3 members could elect the chair. Okay, just want to be clear.
Yeah.
It says 8 copies for hearings. Who are the 8 copies going to go to?
Unfortunately, we don't have Carrie here, but if you have the 3 members, the 2 alternates, I'm assuming.
That's 5.
Carrie. Well, you've got to have the assessors, so there's Carrie, there's
6.
Rebecca.
Okay, all right. Just seems like a lot of
If
paper.
it turns out to be too much, we won't make them do it.
One of the issues I believe we've had in the past with on-sites is the ability to go inside the property or the residence. Is, when we say may view the property, do you think that includes inside and outside? Or is it just look at it from the
I would
outside?
think you'd have to go inside if you're deciding something's been assessed.
If you're,
If they're the ones, because by definition, these are folks who are challenging the
Right,
assessor's
but part of the reason we
decision.
had a problem on one that I'm aware of was the property owner would not allow Carrie to go inside the building.
Even after they appealed the
Yeah.
assessment. I can't speak to that.
Is that correct, John?
That's right. That's exactly right. What section are you on, John? I'm
It's
trying to find
page
the
3, the board may view the property at issue at the request of either party. It's the start of the paragraph under
text.
conduct
Oh, I
of
see.
hearings.
Okay, yep.
Well, I guess we can, I think that would be Carrie's determination whether this language is enough to give him inside. And if it's not, he could come back to us and ask for an amendment to the bylaws.
Well, could we just add interior and exterior of the property, just to strengthen it?
Okay?
Or
I
all
don't have a
parts
problem
of the
with that.
property, or all, something, you know?
The entire property, something, yeah.
Which you're under,
Section 7.
Section
Section
7.
7.
The board,
conduct of-
last paragraph, the board may
Right.
view.
I think the operative word may being it's optional and it doesn't require the property owner, they shall provide that as part of their,
No, that's not my issue, it's,
Well-
you know, because
Does
this
the
particular
view the
one
property at
would
issue,
not
you're
allow them
asking if it's
inside, and it was
inside,
quite a,
outside.
made quite a difference in the valuation.
well, right, but if it's may and not shall, then you're not, that's the wedge, right? That's the one that forces the, shall view the property at issue at the request of.
No, it's not a may shall thing,
No, I
John.
think he's talking about.
he's just saying is property
saying
broad
property,
enough
it's
to
not
include
defining it
inside
as
and
both
outside?
Inside and outside,
Okay.
the property in its entirety.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's what you put, view the property at its, in its entirety at issue at the request of either party.
Okay. Everybody okay with that change? Okay,
Let me just-
anything else, John?
Just checking here.
Okay.
That's it
Okay.
for me.
Okay, great.
So do we then need to redo the motion because it's amended?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll change my motion to as amended.
okay. Kim's motion and John second as amended?
Second, as amended, yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, 5-0. Next are the ZBA bylaws as presented. Do you want to come up, Ryan? Anything you want to, have there been changes to them or?
Well,
Okay.
the only thought I had on this was, we're not very consistent in our naming protocols.
I had that highlighted too.
Yeah, I'd love to have somebody just clean it up a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, it says bylaws of the zoning board of appeals, and within the document, it says zoning board.
And there's enough confusion over
Yep.
who does what to begin with, so.
yeah, and if you want to shorten it to ZBA after you do it the first time, that's
Right.
fine, but.
So can we just plan to amend it that way and go ahead? Let me just see what else I might have. That was it, except it's
Okay,
it's
so
assuming
we're,
we're gonna approve it.
yeah, if we just replace zoning board with ZBA and spell it out on the first line, Rockport Zoning Board of Appeals, parent, ZBA closed parents.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we refer to it as zoning board, sometimes it's zoning board of appeals, sometimes
Right.
it's,
Just
So
for
just make it
consistency.
consistent, so
Yeah.
we always refer to it as ZBA
Okay.
after the first reference.
So I move to approve the ZBA bylaws as amended, which will
Second.
include consistency.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay. So is that enough for someone, Orion, on your end to get that changed? Great. Okay, next is act on committee work plans, and the first one we have is the EDC. So do we have, I think we've got Orion.
I will come up here for this one.
Good.
So this is the first work plan, I think, that y'all are seeing where they're taking the comp plan strategies and incorporating them into the work plan. So this is kind of a way to help keep track of their strategies, the strategies that have been assigned to them. So you'll start seeing a few more committee work plans come in with this same structure.
it's nice to see that, Orion.
Yeah, you approved, is this a good way, John, to?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
For the comp plan part of that.
Yeah, having the comp plan be part of the work plans, it's exactly what we envisioned when we,
Yeah, and the quick, short summary, but then the spelling it out.
yep,
Great. Okay.
I love it. They're taking ownership.
Questions for Orion? And, you know, I think this is a group, I mean, it's been a really, I'm the liaison to the EDC, and it's a really good, solid group that's very interested and brings a lot of different expertise into this committee. You know, again, looking at economic development in Rockport, because, you know, we've been pretty focused on budget issues recently, and that's definitely something we need to do in this town, is to keep our taxes low. But we also need to grow the pie, and that's what economic development does. That brings in more people to the tax base, and those are ways that a town stays vibrant. And so we really appreciate the work that Orion does with this group, as well as the members of the committee. So, do we have a motion to approve the EDC work plan?
I move that we approve the EDC work plan.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Michael? All those in favor? Okay. Great. And then the next is the Parks and Beautification Work Plan. And that's also attached.
So
No.
before we go forward, Michelle, or Denise, with a motion.
Yeah.
Should I make a few comments?
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't you go?
Their introductory remark is, I mean, it's just a small nit, but the phrase "jewel of the mid-coast" is sort of Camden's tagline. So,
I don't know. I have an old
okay,
magazine that calls us the jewel of the Mid-Coast.
okay.
I'm holding on to it.
Not going to get in the middle of that. So it talks about a return on investment in beautifying and maintaining town parks. I'd love to see the committee focus on that a little bit to, you know, try to quantify that a little bit more. I know it's hard, but,
Well, I think what it's talking about, if, you know, there are a lot of national articles that discuss when there are parks and outdoor recreation opportunities, that enhances the value of a community. More people want to come and live in a community that offers those amenities. I think that's,
Yeah.
So it's more of a vague concept than being able to put dollars and cents to it. but-
yeah, but but I think there are some ways to, you know, put points on the board in that area, whether it's just.
We could look at how much our valuation's gone up in the last.
Well, you know, it gets into, I don't want to
I don't
get
mean
too much
I
into
don't
the
mean to
weeds.
belittle what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying.
It's about branding, so just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
And then it tends to focus, the committee, and I don't know if this is historical or what, but their mission tends to focus on the appearance as opposed to usage and engagement in the parks. And I don't know if that's outside the scope of the parks.
Yeah, I think the parks hasn't typically, I mean, Harbor Park, obviously Abby takes care of reservations and how that park gets used. I know at one point they did the concerts over here in Mary Leah Park. That was a Parks Committee support, so that was some usage. But I think you're probably right that they sort of are making sure that the parks are well-maintained and it's basically, if you think of it, Public Works, you know, we got a whole Public Works department, but those guys, you know, it's like the difference between a gardener and a contractor, you know, a landscaper. You know, somebody can come in and do the big picture stuff, but someone who can really sort of fine tune I mean, they really do get into the, I guess it's not
The
weeds,
weeds.
it's the plants. To just bring to bear that sort of finer eye to the way the parks looks. I mean, we have the mowing contracts, we have some of the bigger stuff is already done in the Parks Committee, and they've looked at benches. I mean, that's been something that's mattered to them, to make sure that people can spend time in the
Enjoy them, right,
parks.
enjoy the
They
parks.
look at the equipment at Walker Park to make sure that's still functional and that folks can enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would, I would love to see it expand its mission a little bit to, you know, like when you're talking about park benches, that's not an appearance thing, that's a use thing.
Yeah,
So-
and they
So it's
have
already
done
doing that.
And they sort of did that in tandem because there was sort of a hodgepodge of park benches, various kinds of park benches in the parks, and they said, wait a minute, let's systematize this. So in Harbor Park, these are the benches we're going to add, so they all sort of match. And they
Yep.
did that for each of the parks.
Which is great. So, another question, is there a reason Marge Jones and the,
That's
couldn't be included?
recreation. I mean, that's just sort of an interesting thing.
do we have a committee overseeing?
Yeah, we have a
Recreation
recreation committee.
We do,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think the Rockport Common is, in my mind, that's something we're gonna have to think about, because that brings together both parks elements
And
and
recreation.
recreation elements all
Right.
in one place.
Yep.
So how that, you know, maybe that suggests we start to merge parks and recreation, I don't know. I mean, those are some things
That
to
would be
think
great.
about. Yeah.
Who's the liaison to the Recreation Committee? Oh, okay, great. Love to hear more about it. And then the only question I have, again, going back to the nice work the EDC did in its work plan of including the goals in the comp plan, could we ask them to do the same? 'Cause they're-
Yeah, I'm not sure, would you
'Cause
be
that
able
was-
to tell them?
Yeah,
What
that was what
applies.
our goal was with the implementation task force. was-
But I mean, do you have the list that you could just give them
Yeah,
from, similar to?
that's, what you're looking at from EDC is exactly what we gave EDC.
And did you give parks something like
Yeah,
that
we
too?
gave, we gave parks that, there's not a long list.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're not
So
resistant
could
to.
we plan to include that in the work plan?
Yeah, I think we could request that they,
Okay,
was that sent to Paula, do you know?
Bob? So Ryan would have sent it out, so, yeah. I'm pretty sure we did. We did-
Because it's a
we got
pretty
it.
diligent group, usually they pay pretty careful attention if they're asked to do something, so
Yep,
maybe there was just some,
so if we could just plan to include that in their work plan?
okay.
So does that mean this work plan needs to go back?
I
Since we're
think so,
not-
I think they should probably look at it, because
It's up to you.
Yeah,
I don't know what's in the comp plan that has been decided that parks should take charge of, but it's a newer, I mean, they've been regrouping.
Yeah.
There are some new people
Well, I
on
think we
parks.
sent it out 2 months ago, Bob or Ryan, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
to the committee chair. Who's the chair?
Well, it was joint Doug and Paula, and now it's just Paula, and then we've had a lot of more elderly members who are no
Okay.
longer, I mean, it's
Well,
gone
if they
through
don't
it.
have it, we can resend it.
Yeah, okay.
so I guess we
Yeah, I just haven't seen
technically
it.
table this?
Let's just table this,
Okay.
yeah, and we'll let them,
Take it back and,
they're still doing all their good work, and we're
Right.
gonna add this emerald ash borer. I know John's already been in communication with Paula on
And the
emerald ash
town looks
borer.
marvelous.
Marvelous, marvelous, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll table this,
okay.
and
Do we need a motion to do that?
I don't see the, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we'll get the comp plan
Get it, come back,
information to
okay.
them and let them look that over. Okay. Next is act on 2026 building permit fee schedule. John? Yeah, Orion?
Orion?
Was trying to find that letter we sent to the Parks Committee, so we'll get that sorted out. All right. So, it's been a couple years since we looked at our building permit fees, and I tasked Andrew to kind of look at, since he's been going to all the codes meetings, I've asked him to look at all of the neighboring municipalities to see kind of where we stand with our fee schedule. So he came back with some suggestions, I reviewed it, we made some further edits and added a few more. So at the bottom of that list, there's some new fees to add into it. But this is to kind of keep us on par with the surrounding area, so that we're kind of charging what everybody else is charging,
And covering our costs.
and covering our costs, yes.
So I had a question. Under the planning board fees for preliminary plan review,
Yes.
the 220 is struck out and there's no other amount.
So, yeah, we're gonna probably leave I think we're gonna leave 220 there for now, because there's gonna be a proposal to amend the subdivision ordinance, so,
Okay.
that's what that's about. Sorry for that.
So is that accurate as written, or do we need to?
The 220 would stay in for the preliminary plan review.
Okay. Ra-
Which one?
Preliminary plan review. So under subdivision review, the second line there.
Correct.
Where there's, right now, it looks like it's nothing. But we'll leave 220 in. Okay. So that would be as amended.
Denise?
Yes.
Ryan, there's I don't know if this is new, because I'm a little hard to make out the edits you did. Pod and temp storage containers, is that new?
That would be new.
So we've had a discussion at the planning board on this, as you know. These big storage containers are essentially moving billboards for the company, and some people feel that they're kind of unsightly, like a billboard would feel if it suddenly showed up in town. I don't like the idea of us encouraging more of this. I don't think anybody would.
So I know the planning board's having discussions about amending the ordinance to provide some clarity on that for an enforcement side. This is more of a fee schedule. Right now, they currently exist
Without
Without
a
it
fee.
paying
without a
anything.
fee right now.
So they get free advertising.
Well,
Yeah.
they get free advertising, but also right now, all that we do is just kind of say, hey, we see it, and if it's there after a certain date, then you
I
get
was gonna
slapped with
say,
a
is
fee.
there a limit on the time? So now that if there's a fee associated, is there a limit? Like, is it
Yeah,
30 days?
most of them
Is
are
it-
associated with like a project, so
Okay.
I think that's about a year. That's about what it has, so.
Yeah, if it's an active, like, construction project, it's legit, but some of this other stuff is,
Sure.
it's great, people need help and they can get a temporary storage, but sometimes I think the company is in a hurry to remove them, so I wouldn't be if I were running the company. So,
Okay.
but I just wanted, this is a sensitive area, I know, with a lot of members of the planning board.
Yes.
It sounds like you guys or they're working on it.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. But meanwhile, we might as well get $50 from,
Well, $50 feels cheap,
it
but
does.
um,
But it's usually, like you say, it's in conjunction with a construction project, so somebody's already paying probably a building permit fee, they're paying, there's probably a few categories in here they're already paying.
For the construction side, that has some caveats to it, but if you just wanted a temporary storage, you would check to see, one, can you do it? And are there going to be any issues? So that's time spent on the code officer reviewing to make sure everything works.
Yeah.
So this right here pretty much covers that little bit of time.
Okay. All right. Do we
and
have
I like your chart, the way you organize this in the back end, Ryan.
you.
It makes it real easy to see what's changing.
Thank you.
There are a couple typos,
Yes.
Oh,
In the,
vegetation
oh,
I see
on
verification?
the
on the chart.
in the Excel chart?
The comparison table?
Oh, that, yeah, I mean, that was just, I didn't check. I
That
didn't
won't
click
be
spell check
official,
On the
right?
Excel.
That's-
No, that's not gonna be
That's to
official.
just inform us
Yeah.
that
Okay.
Yeah,
we're staying,
That was just to see if we were reading it.
yeah.
yep. Okay,
Okay, so I move to approve the 2026 building permit fee schedule as amended.
perfect. Do we have a second?
Second.
Kim? All those in favor? 5-0. Great. Thanks, Ryan. It's important to keep up on these things, so we appreciate, I know this takes a lot of time to get through all of this, and I assume Andrew was involved in this, so we appreciate the
And
good
thank you
work.
for doing the comparison, 'cause I
You're
think
very
that's
welcome.
important.
It's good to know where we stand.
Yeah,
Yeah, agreed. All right. Next is act on notice of payment of excess sale proceeds. And I know what was in the packet has changed.
It has. So,
do you
so,
wanna-
yeah. So, when the town took ownership of this property to the tax foreclosure process, there was another lien on it, a DHHS lien, a child support, back child support lien on the property. The structure and how liens work in the state, when the town takes ownership of it, the other lien goes away, but DHHS can claim any sale proceeds. So DHHS submitted their claim to what was owed to us, and we had that vetted by our town attorney. They said that's sufficient for us to make that payment. So that has been deducted from the amount that is posted for the public to see. So that new amount.
it's
I don't have that.
176, I think, or one.
Yeah.
It's 170, I believe.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, 179, 324, 27.
Correct.
Okay.
And so how this works, there's two notices that go out. One is an intent to pay, and then this form that y'all will be signing is the payment. So John signed the intent to pay, 30 days will go by, and then the check will get cut, and then the form that you're signing will go out along with the check.
The check to
And
the
and it's
prior
probably
owner.
important for people at home and here to know that, like, we're obligated to pay this back to the owner. Like,
Correct.
It's not something the town could keep. We take what is owed to us from back taxes and
Correct.
administrative fees, what have you, but we are obligated to give this back to the owner, so.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
where it would go
The state-
otherwise would be to the,
To the town. Because we've taken ownership of the property for back taxes.
oh, okay.
And the state changed the law last year,
couple-
recently, and it's actually quite onerous on towns
It
these
is.
days.
It is.
There's yet again, more
Right.
requirements that just keep getting brought down to us. But anyway, that's what this, so we can't keep this money, but,
Right. I'm
So-
glad there's a new owner.
yes, a
and there's
new,
making progress
and I
on,
think they'll maybe do a nice job of fixing things up
think
and be
so.
a
I
good
think so.
new community member, so that's the positive side of all of this. Great. Any-
So I move to approve the notice of payment as amended, because what we have in our
Yes.
packet is different than what will actually be, so.
Good,
The amount will be the 179, 324, 27.
great.
Second?
Kim, second. All those in favor? Great.
Perfect.
Thank you, Orion.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty, now, we're going to move into,
We've got a question.
Waste-
We've got
oh, yeah.
a question in the audience.
oh, yes, hi. Rick. You want to? Yep, you're seasoned, you know this. Find a mic, yep.
I just had a quick question. Rick Mitchell, West Rockport. On the planning board fees, and I don't know, you guys can help me with this, but if I put an application in for a building or an addition or something like that, and it's all okayed, but Jim next door doesn't like it, and he goes against the town, and the town has to go into an argument where there's law and money being spent, is there any recourse if that's found to be legit to begin with? In other words, Jim just doesn't want Rick to do a building, and he ties it up in court for a long time, and the town pays all this time.
Pays,
Any
Legal
legal fees? Yeah. Could those legal fees come back from Jim?
Well, I don't know why the town would be paying legal fees. If Jim doesn't like what you're doing, he's going to sue you. He's not going to sue
Well,
the town.
wasn't there right next to, can you help me, John?
Yeah,
too
okay,
far
all
from
right,
here.
all right,
Yeah.
I'll stay
Not
out of
too
this.
far.
I might
Yeah.
not have the
Yeah,
background.
yeah. No, not too far from here, we had an issue, right, where someone applied, went through the process, all the proper channels, went through the planning board, went through the Board of Appeals, and stop me if I'm not getting
I
to
don't know.
part of your question.
I'm not, yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, the heart of it was, right, you make this payment in sort of good faith, right? Where I think I have the right to do this. And then courts, different places, different authorities can say no, or you're held up. There is a bit of a buyer beware, right? Or builder beware, I suppose, in this case, where, boy, until you've sort of been through and extinguished through an appeal process. So there's a period of time after a permit's issued where that can't be appealed. We actually just went through a similar situation recently on this. So in some cases, people will get permits, wait till that period has elapsed, and then they start building. So that way they have that peace of mind.
Okay, okay.
But you're right, and we've seen it.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering
Yeah.
where you was setting your fees, if there was anywhere in there that you could put that in there and say,
Just with legal
Yeah.
fees or,
I don't think you're gonna resolve it tonight, but I would think that if I was Jim and I was gonna go after this,
Right.
I might think twice if I have to reimburse any fees that were spent, that weren't found to be in my behalf.
So there was a lot looked into the idea of, so to talk about the hotel, just to talk about that. So that was a situation where while the appeal was of the town's decision, the town's expense was really to defend our boards, really, right? It wasn't necessarily to defend the person who was looking to build. It was really just to defend our piece of that. And of course, that has its own costs and to defend that. But in the larger sort of sphere of that, of saying, as someone who's a property owner, do I feel great about, boy, anybody at any time can pull me off of my intent or my right to build? That's becoming more and more of a problem, right? Every day we look, and unfortunately, people are more concerned with what's over the fence than they probably should be. That's just my personal thing.
No, I agree.
know what I mean?
And I just thought, and I don't want to anchor it down and sidetrack it, but
No, it's-
if you could fit it in there somewhere, I think that would be, I mean, I wasn't even talking about next door. I was referring back to, I think there was an elevator next
Oh,
door.
that one.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
you're
this
going way-
direction.
You're going way
Yeah.
back.
Not that one, this
Yeah.
direction, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
right, 90,000. That was not pocket change,
Yeah.
2,000.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then I don't know who it was, but if they thought they had to reimburse that money, maybe they wouldn't have thrown in the nickels that they were throwing in that the town had to pay dollars for, so.
yeah, there's sort of some convoluted law on the question of getting attorney's fees reimbursed for
Thank you.
cases. But thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, so move into, do we have to do a motion to move into wastewater?
I think we do.
You do.
Yep,
Sorry.
okay, I see it's all set up for us. Okay. We have a motion to enter into wastewater commissioners.
I move to enter into wastewater commissioners to discuss the appeal from George and Jacqueline Wheelwright.
Okay.
Second.
Kim? All those in favor? Okay. Are you voting yes, John?
Oh, yep, sorry,
It's okay. I'm-
distracted.
Okay, so we are now in wastewater commissioners. We discussed this appeal at our meeting in January. I think we all got a little frustrated with the main water billing, and some of the facts were just a little bit confusing. I spent quite a bit of time in the last month and just went through sort of what the billings were saying, what our ordinance says, and in the packet is probably too long an analysis of it, but I was trying to put everything in there. Sort of a summary of what that says. First of all, because we're talking about, we're not talking about metered water. And for the abatement process under our ordinance, that's limited to a challenge to say that metered water did not end up in the sewer. and this, we're getting into a little bit of sort of arcane positions, but it's important because there is a provision to appeal your wastewater charges if you think an error was made, and that's under section 900 of our ordinance. So an error was made in any decision, requirement, or determination made by the commissioners, which is the select board. And we have a different hat on right now. We are the wastewater commissioners. So our understanding is the wheelwrights are arguing that there was an error made in the decision to build them for 4 dwelling units using the regulatory formula in the sewer ordinance. As we have dug into this and as came up in our January meeting, the wheelwrights have 3 apartments and their house. So that, under our sewer ordinance, is 4 dwelling units. Maine Water should have been billing them over the years, and they have an unusual situation because they have a well, and then they're on the sewer system, and there's no meter on the well. So most people on the sewer system have water meter readings, and that's how they get billed for sewer. You get your water in, assume all water coming in is going to go out as sewage, and so it's a very simple, easy process for Maine Water. It gets a little bit more complicated when you have a well that doesn't have a meter. So there's a formula in our ordinance that says what you do in those circumstances, and you basically assume 16.4 100 cubic feet per dwelling unit per quarter. And Maine Water, for whatever reason, over the years, only billed the wheelwrights for 1 dwelling unit, even though there were 4 dwelling units. So they were essentially underpaying for a long period of time, really. No fault of theirs. They were being underbilled, and they paid what they were billed. But in terms of our sewer system and what's fair, they only got billed for 4 quarters are the only quarters they were actually billed for the 4 dwelling units they have out of a sort of 76 quarters if you go all the way back. So there was a large amount of money that never got paid into our sewer system because of Maine Water. But all of that is really, we now focus on, and it obviously got the wheelwrights' attention when they got a bill for 4 dwelling units, because their sewer bill went from a little over $600 to $1,300. Maybe even $1,600 it was $1,600. So they're like, whoa, what's going on? And at that point, they investigated and realized that, yeah, maybe we should put a meter on this because we're pretty sure we're not using as much water as is being assumed by the sewer ordinance. So since that time, they now have installed a meter. All bills going forward will be based on their actual water use. But what we've ended up with is they have not paid their bill because of all these concerns and questions. And they have contended that they shouldn't have to pay consistent with our ordinance because they now have 1 quarter's worth of meter readings that is less than what 4 dwelling units would be. A lot less. But it's sort of irrelevant because under our ordinance, this is what our ordinance says. It's per dwelling unit. They have 4 dwelling units, and it uses this assumption. And the 1 meter reading that we have is for 1 quarter. We don't know. We don't know how many people, we can assume that there was 1 person in each unit. We don't know if people were gone for holidays. We just don't know how representative the 1 quarter would be for the prior period of time. So it's something, and it's exactly why there is this assumption in the ordinance, is that you have, there's an assumption, 16.4, when you calculate that out, that's a little over 12,000 gallons a quarter. And that's very consistent with looking at assumptions and estimates of estimated water use for households. So the ordinance is not taking an extraordinarily high number. It's taking a very average, ordinary number. And we appreciate the wheelwright's position that for the 1 quarter they have actual measurements, that number is not less than the 1 dwelling unit that they paid for most of the time they were on the sewer. It's actually more the 1/4 reading. So we're really left with a situation where we've got an ordinance that specifies what has to be done in the circumstance when you have a well with no meter, and that the ordinance is very clear. And as wastewater commissioners, I think we have to understand, first of all, that any amount of sewer costs to the town of Rockport, any sewage that is going into, that leaves Rockport, that all the sewer users have to pay for that. So to the extent one sewer user is underpaying, which is what we think happened over here for a number of years, all the other sewer users have had to pick up that difference over time. And it would be further exacerbated if we granted the wheelwright's appeal here, because again, we would not be, other sewer users would have to make up this difference. And it's frustrating that Maine Water did not a great job of billing, but all their errors were to the wheelwright's benefit. It hurt the town and the other sewer users, but the wheelwrights benefited. So there's, yes, there are several months or several quarters where the wheelwrights don't think they should have to pay the higher amount, but the higher amount is what the ordinance actually requires. So I think we'd like to, it's always hard to tell your neighbors, we're sorry about this, but I think we owe it to our residents to sort of consistently enforce our ordinance and not make sort of one-off decisions based on the appeal of someone in front of us when there here was no error made other than the error that benefited the wheelwrights. So that's sort of where I come out in the analysis.
I'd like to say something about it.
Yeah, let's just, if,
I know it is a tough thing, considering, like you said a moment ago, what the rate was, and then when it came up to the 4, all that stuff, and then to have the confusion of Maine Water misbilling even after that, and that's on Maine Water,
They did
as
a
I
terrible job
understand,
of billing,
Right.
yes, Maine
for
Water.
whatever reason.
yep.
So it made it look even more crazy, I guess. And- But if the standard for a residence is, whatever that number is,
Yeah, that's 1625, yeah,
then that's
that's,
an estimate, assumed, yeah.
yeah.
I agree with you, 1/4 of billing on the meter does not give you enough information. You need to have at least a year's worth, I would think, to see the ups and downs of the usage.
And that might be beneficial if we were to change what the ordinance was to what the standard household perhaps would be.
Well, we
Right.
have changed the ordinance going forward to where anybody on a well
Has to put it in.
has to
have
put
it
in a
in
meter.
now.
And
So we're
it's
not
it's
confronted.
exactly
Right.
because of this
That's right.
situation.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
That's more important, I think.
yeah.
So I also, feel the pain of the wheelwrights here because they've got tenants that are in the workforce here and they're trying hard to keep their rental rates down and they've done a great job of that. And, clearly this is gonna be a cost that I don't think they can bear and they're gonna have to adjust their, rental rates probably going forward. I don't know, that's speculation but it's just tragic because it just exacerbates a problem we already have with housing, affordable housing in the community, so. But it also speaks to why we have to get our wastewater rates down.
Right, I mean, I think that's the thing we're working on other fronts, is bringing our sewer rates down.
Yeah. After we're all done with this part of it, I want to come back to this.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, Jackie, come on up.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for all you do. And I know this is a complex issue, but the clarity that I want to make clear is that we have our house, which is a couple bedrooms, and then we have one-bedroom apartments, and the tenants, we can show you how long they've been living there. So nothing's changed. They have been the same tenants for over 5 years, and it's just one bedroom tiny apartments. And the formula that you have is you could have 5 bedrooms. It's the same formula for a single dwelling. And that's what's not fair because these are just single units for single people who are in the workforce, and we keep the rents really low in order for them to afford it. And yet, the formula that you have for this ordinance isn't appropriate, because my neighbor who has 4 kids and 4 bedrooms is paying the same rate that I'm paying for one adult in a one-bedroom apartment. So it's that whole ordinance that you're basing it on. And we didn't know about this until suddenly we got a $1,600 bill for 1 quarter, and then another one, and twice in 1 month. And it's like, whoa, what is this all about? And as soon as we knew, that happened in January, we called our plumber and we got the meters on. But we kept getting these same bills, and maybe 1 quarter doesn't show, but the history of the house shows. And that's important to look at, is that these tenants have not changed. They're still single people. They work 2 and 3 jobs each, so they're never even home. They're great tenants, they're great people, and we pay probably 1/3 of what they should be charged. We ask them for rent.
Well, and we really appreciate that contribution to the community in terms of the housing. I think that's what the ordinance provides. You've done exactly what you should do under this ordinance, is put in a meter. And now going forward, and even for the last several quarters, you've still been, as much as Maine Water, we audited them in August of 2024, which is when you got the first 4-dwelling unit bill. Maine Water has turned back and was billing you through July of 2025 and October of 2025, and they're only billed for 1 dwelling unit again.
Yes, but Denise, the thing of it is our first quarter of meter reading is exactly what they're billing. It's not
exactly, it's higher.
It's $20 or $50 more.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter, because your ordinance is charging us 3 times more than that. That's a huge difference.
And you've done what's appropriate under the ordinance, which is to install a meter, and you'll pay on actual water usage, which is
But the
perfectly
ordinance-
appropriate.
This
But we,
is an opportunity when something goes wrong in government, whatever it is, to actually look at those laws and those ordinances and say, whoa, that doesn't make sense. Why would someone who has 1 bedroom pay the same as someone who has 4 or 5 bedrooms?
that someone would install a meter, and then they would pay for what they're actually using, which is what you have done, and that's
what we've
appropriate.
discussed also is that we are one of the few people in town who actually have
That situation.
well water
Absolutely.
and city sewer.
Yep.
So it's not going to affect many other people. don't
Well, I
know
think
any
the minute
that
you
has a
start,
multi-unit and-
well, and I hear you appealing for us sort of breaking, not following our ordinance, and I think that's what we need to do, and what our residents in town need to be assured we will do, is consistently apply our ordinances, because otherwise people will feel like, oh gosh, look at the deal they got, maybe I need to complain.
Question, was there a time in our ordinance where there was ever a distinction what the flat fee would be for a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom? It was just,
My understanding is no. I mean, this is a
But I
very
see that
accepted,
validity-
in the
that
research I've
validity.
done out there, this is a very accepted default assumption.
It's a very expensive default.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'm pushing for anything, it's to actually have you look at that and say, this isn't right.
Well, and as we've said, the new
Yeah.
ordinance now requires meters on wells.
so this would never happen, won't happen again.
Wells will get metered,
Yeah.
so, and that's the right resolution.
Well, and that was precipitated by you bringing this forward, so.
I think that's right. I mean, I think we would rather everybody's paying based on what they're using, because it may be, in some circumstances, the 1 quarter suggests you were lower than that, but we would have no way of knowing whether you were extraordinarily higher than that. I mean, they're just, without a meter, we don't know what you've contributed, and I don't mean to make it personal, but what your 4 dwelling units contributed to the sewer that all the sewer users had to pay for. So you have the meter in place, that's great going forward, you have a past due bill, you've appealed it. My recommendation is that we deny the appeal and move forward with the paying based on your actual metered rate going forward. Do we have a motion?
Review too, and just, I totally hear what you're saying about that, but that would be like retroactively changing the ordinance, and I don't know that that could be done.
Don't have
Yeah.
the ability to do that.
So do we have a motion to deny the wastewater appeal?
I will make the motion. Is there a specific
There you go.
language? I move to deny the wastewater appeal by George and Jacqueline Wheelwright.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? John, are you opposed?
Yeah, I am. This just doesn't feel right.
Okay.
So,
All right, 4-1.
Thank you.
It doesn't feel right. I mean, I guess I have to say, it feels right with sort of what our job is. It's very hard to tell your neighbors that you're going to take this approach, and we appreciate what you've done, and appreciate that. And we have put a lot of time and thought into this, and I know it didn't come out the way you wanted. Yeah,
Can I just ask a real quick question?
sure.
Do you want me to run?
Yeah, come on up to the mic, and that way folks at home and everyone can hear you.
My name is Fred Geldred, Rockport resident. Having been at the last meeting where this was all discussed, one of the things that came out of that was they had been errors in the billing. Has that been looked into as to, I mean, why things keep flip-flopping, or did I steal your thunder, John?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So-
Great minds think alike. That's
Well, and
exactly where I wanted to
Yeah, I
come
know
back.
John wants to get on that, which is great, and my just quick response to you would be, because this is so unique, I mean, Maine Water is in the cycle of water meter readings in, sewer bills out. And so to have something like this that has no water meter reading coming in, it's just in its own little bubble. And so you end up with billing clerks who, when they are told in August of 2024, this account needs 4 dwelling units, they do that for that month. They did 3 dwelling unit, I mean, yeah, so it's just one-offs. It's such a unique situation, and that's why we're trying to fix it going forward.
I know that in their particular case, the meter was put in, they were then billed for the 4 units, but then it changed back even after they had the meter.
No, so once the meter's installed, they're only going to be billed and have only been
Okay,
billed
I-
based on that. Yeah.
Okay.
And even prior to the meter going in, and even after we said this, I say we, but the town did an audit of a lot of different issues with our main water billing for sewer. And this was one of them that came out of that, even after thinking it would be right, and it got right for 3 quarters, and then they reverted to the 1 dwelling unit for the rest of 2025, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, thanks. Okay, John?
Well, to pick up where Fred was going, so can John or Ryan, when did we actually notify Maine Water that they had made an error in this billing? And that we told them to correct it? Was that like a year ago?
That was the summer of 2024, because it combined with, because we did a lot of equivalent unit changes. Wasn't that right, Ryan, that it was?
I'd have to look at that. So, is there record in the select board packet?
Yeah, it would take forever to, I don't think it's in there, actually,
I
Ryan.
think it's when that
it's-
first bill they got of August of 2024 arose out of that audit, is what we understood at our last meeting.
Well, there was a point where we notified Maine Water that they had gone back to not calculating the wheelwrights bill correctly, that they were undercharging the wheelwrights.
Right, that they had never charged.
So we, at that point, we were losing revenue after having notified them to make the change 3/4 earlier or half a year earlier?
No, so whenever we submitted the original report to change what had been found in the audits, once we finished the audit, submitted that to Maine Water, we didn't check back in. They contacted to say, why is this going up and down? Then we investigated. So we didn't know it had dropped.
But
We
we
didn't know
gave
the-
them the information to get the billing right.
Correct.
To correct billing on a number of properties.
Correct.
This was one of them.
Correct.
The date on that was about June of '24.
I think so.
And then the wheelwrights got bills for 3 quarterly bills in that interim time that were the correct amount. But then they went back a couple quarters that they weren't getting
Yeah,
billed, so they were
July.
being underbilled. And that comes out of the town of Rockport wastewater customers' pocket.
All the other customers had to.
All
make
the
up
other
that
customers are
difference.
now
Yeah.
picking that up, and it's clearly an administrative error on Maine Water's part. So
What recourse
why
do we
can't
have
we
with
do
Maine Water?
something to at least look for a credit on one of our future bills for that amount? I mean, it's small numbers, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, I'd also love to see us pull, you know, maybe 5 or 10 accounts, big accounts, and just look to see if Maine Water's doing the right calculations for them, because I've lost a lot of
Well,
faith in.
remember how unique this situation is. I'm not saying that there might not be another household or two, but most of it, it's a Maine Water meter that is reading. So that's the number.
Right, so
And-
just give me 5 accounts that go to the meter readings and make them the 5 biggest accounts we've got. Because if they're even off a little bit, it's a lot of money. Why aren't we checking back on that? I mean, we clearly saw the vendor falling down here.
We
And
pay them to do the billing.
we pay them to do
We're-
this.
We're going through a process, right, of appeal, right? That's what initiated this making aware of the problem and solving the problem, which has been an administrative problem that Andrew, our code officer, first tackled this fall. So I think that there is, to look at a larger issue, again, I see where, you know, there's an issue on one account that we clearly see, right? And I think that there's enough there to say, right, 5, 10, 20 accounts. Okay, let's go through this to make sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that,
Okay,
you know?
you've just agreed.
I
So who's
don't, right,
gonna
but,
do
but
this?
hold on. I want to be sure we understand here, this is a very particular circumstance. And I don't think anyone out there should be worried that, you know, Penn Bay Medical Center, Samoset Resort, the school district, I don't think, we don't know that there's a canary in the coal mine. And I don't know that this is necessarily an indication of that. I think we should look, and I think you're right about that. Because if they are underbilling us or underbilling the sewer users as a whole, that's a problem, right? And now is the right time to find that. I don't want it to assume that on
No,
this very unique circumstance.
I'm not
it goes
assuming
beyond.
anything, I just want
Right.
to verify.
But
Trust
I mean,
but
Frederick's
verify.
asked the right question, right? Is this big, you know, in a way, is this bigger than what we think, you know? And I think that's what we have to find out.
So can
And I'm
somebody
not-
do something along
Yeah.
that line
Yes.
and get back to us? on
Yeah.
that? Okay, so within 2 months,
Well,
3
it's
months?
going to take town staff time, right?
Right.
6
We're gonna,
months?
let's say this, certainly by the time we have a wastewater budget, we'll have an answer to that.
Okay. and
Is
that
that,
would be-
because I think that's when, if there's any sort of reconciliation that has to occur, that's the time for it to occur. So that's, you know, your May, June, and that's where we're dealing with that wastewater budget.
Great.
And I don't mean to minimize your point, John, or Rick. I mean, it's concerning. I
Yeah.
do want people to appreciate the difference in this particular kind of billing, because most of what Maine Water does for us with sewer is take the water meter reading and then just puts the sewer bill, the sewer charge for that same amount of water. And Maine Water has every incentive to be right on their own billing for the water meters that they're recording. It's just, this situation is one-off enough, they just couldn't institute something in their billing system to make sure it stayed consistent.
And I also want to say this, because in the same capacity, we're going to talk about the budget committee in a second and different things. There's an amount of money that's an expenditure of what it takes to operate collection and treatment of wastewater through basically two different systems, one towards Camden, one towards Rockland. The amount of money that is divided by the users in some capacity, right? This ordinance that we have approved as voters, as residents, is the method of that. It might be right, it might be wrong, it might be somewhere in between, but that is the method. And if for one to see a reduction, one sees an increase. If you cut in one area, it's a finite amount of money, and it's a question of how you cut the pie pieces. And so as a result, do we look for ways to shrink the pie? Absolutely. But that's a separate argument than it is once you have those costs and you're in the middle of these discussions. It's really about, are you applying the ordinance properly? And if so, and that's what we're using to create the budget, it's still about the finite amount of money it takes to pump, collect, and treat wastewater, and paying other communities to do it for us. And that's, unfortunately, individual circumstances be what they are, and it is too high in Rockport, bottom line. Sewer costs are too high. And there were a lot of efforts to try to move past that, but right now, they're still too high. And I know this board has talked a lot about, okay, what are we gonna do to try to move and have that conversation? And I'm sure that will happen once we get through budget process and all those things. But this is going to continue to be an issue. And unfortunately, there's gonna be a lot more folks who are like the wheelwrights who feel as though maybe this is a different circumstance in that situation. But we're going to have more people come before us and say, I just can't afford it. I had a conversation with someone today who lives in town, local, born and raised here, and, confronting the fact they have a sewer lien that could take their house. Now, how do you deal with that? It's a sewer lien. This isn't property taxes. This is a sewer lien. Same process, same circumstance. And it doesn't feel right to say they could potentially lose their house because the ordinance is written the way it is, or because we have a community who charges us a lot, or it doesn't matter. They're in the circumstance. And that's the real world of what we're facing of this. And I hope we don't have a lot of those come back. I hope we can find a way to get through. I hope we can have a better solution. But as you all know, this sewer planning takes a long time. And trying to get those costs down is not going to be an easy circumstance for us as those who are sort of leadership, but residents and all of us who are in this mess. I don't wish it upon any of us.
As a point of clarity, is that one you're just referencing, are they on meter or well?
They're on water. They're on town water as well.
Okay, so they're metered.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a,
Curious to see
right.
if that had an impact.
So-
No,
So we've
they're,
got,
yeah.
we've gotten way off the point, John. Alls I wanted was an audit of.
Oh, I think it's absolutely the point, though. The point is that the system of what it is.
I want to trust all parts of the system
Yeah,
are working. That's all.
absolutely.
That's
Oh,
all.
yeah.
That's a good point.
But the bigger picture of what we owe and what, it's not, if we cut this amount, it goes away. It gets passed off to someone else. And
Well, I
so
know, that's-
that's the challenge,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get how it works, but.
Yeah.
My last little question is, do we have an idea approximately how many people on our sewer systems are on wells? That are,
That are in the same,
Do
you know that,
potentially
Ryan?
same situation.
I don't have
I'm
that.
just curious to see if it's like,
I think
don't have that.
many have put meters in.
Are
We have the number.
requiring- I know new we are
Well,
requiring meters, but.
Yeah, and we
any-
should be notifying
Do we
all
go
of them.
retroactively to anybody for
I
a
don't
meter?
think the ordinance required anybody to do anything
Yeah,
retroactive.
the ordinance, noted that, and John and Megan are aware that there's some changes to the EUs that are coming up with the new ordinance, but that needs to coincide with the budget, so, if that makes any sense too.
So when is the new formula on EUs going to show up in?
With the new wastewater budget that's coming.
So not until June of '26?
Yeah, because there's, anyway.
Yeah, because the budget's based on the old.
Okay, so in the meantime, have we identified all the people on wells to notify them to put on a water meter?
No,
We should probably do that,
I can,
because they've got plenty of time then to get
Mm-hmm.
ready for
Yeah.
the shift.
I'll see what I can find on it,
Yeah.
and I'll talk
I
with
think that
John.
goes to Michael's question.
Just curious how widespread this might be.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously, I don't think we would compel them to put meters in, but you would
Not
let them know
existing.
this would be an option.
Yep. Okay. Are we done with wastewater? Do we have a motion to exit wastewater commissioners back to regular session?
Oh, hold on, I lost
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Kim, all those in favor? And John, 5-0. Okay, so now we're at a
budget.
budget committee requests discussion item.
Clay's not here, right?
Clay's not here. I have, and I see
Craig's
Craig.
here. Yep.
Maybe I'll just give a little background and then anybody, Craig, anybody else who might want to come up and speak. So at our meeting last month, Clay Tolman, who's chair of the Budget Committee, presented 2 recommendations for the Select Board's consideration. The first was a request that this year's town warrant article contain an up or down vote on the budget by the Budget Committee. And 2, the other request were some suggested changes to the town charter. We're still waiting for the town lawyer's input on the changes to the charter. And since the charter is our fundamental town legal document, we need to wait to get our lawyer's input. We're pushing to have that ready for our March meeting so we can discuss that. So included in Clay's request for the up or down vote from the Budget Committee on the town warrant was his representation that the Budget Committee would commit to work with the Select Board collaboratively during the budget process. In the past, we've had various budget committees, sometimes who come to the for folks who don't know the background, when we enter into the budget session, we'll get a town manager's proposed budget. The Budget Committee and the Select Board will have a series of meetings with department heads, with the town manager, ask questions, look for savings and additional improvements that can be made to the budget. And it's a pretty intense period of at least 3 meeting nights, sometimes 4 meeting nights, where we're here for 3 or 4 hours, really hashing through the budget. And the goal is to not just have the Select Board decide on its own what it's going to do with the town manager's budget, but to get input from the town residents who have stepped forward to volunteer on the Budget Committee. And so it's really useful to have more people putting eyes on the document. But we have had years where the Budget Committee doesn't really engage in that process. And there's not a lot of back and forth. They don't come up with any suggested changes, and then would just vote the budget down. Their recommendation would be vote the budget down. And the Select Board would feel a little bit blindsided because it's like, well, wait a minute, how come you didn't give us what do you want? What did you want to help make this budget a budget you could approve? And Clay recognized that there had been some of that history at our last meeting, and we've talked about it with the Budget Committee as well. So I think I'm encouraged, and maybe we all are encouraged, that the Budget Committee is committing to work with us collaboratively in these meeting process. If there are changes that the Budget Committee would like to see made, that they would speak up and talk about those at the meetings so that we, the Select Board, can know what the Budget Committee would like to see changed in the budget. Because I would hope our goal would be to have a budget that all of us are working collaboratively on, that we could all support and present to the town voters as a budget document that we all have pulled apart and analyzed and found, the most cost-efficient way to provide the services to our town of Rockport taxpayers. So I think that was really important to have Clay recognize that, have Budget Committee members recognize that that that's what we want. The up or down vote, we are generally supportive of. We think that's helpful. I think the town taxpayers, voters would appreciate that. We would just want to make sure that it's not just an up or down vote, but that there's a lot of discussion and back and forth. And, I think one issue that has come up with the way the charter language is worded is it says the Budget Committee will make recommendations to the Select Board. And the question has been, what is meant by recommendations? And our town lawyer says you can interpret that to be the up or down vote. So the charter currently allows us to do, and to have the Budget Committee provide an up or down vote that would show up on our town warrant. But we don't want to lose the specific nature of how you could define recommendations. We would still want to get recommendations from the Budget Committee on what specifically they think should be changed in the budget document to reach a budget that they themselves could approve and could support. So that's, I think, I don't want to take up I want everybody to get a chance to talk. But, fundamentally, I, for one, and I can let the others speak for themselves, am supportive of an up or down vote by the Budget Committee showing up on our town warrant. I'm hopeful we'll have a really good budget process and, working through that. Because the town charter allows this, there's nothing, we don't need to make a motion to do that, but we want to go on record so that the Budget Committee and others understand that that is our intention and that we do support having the Budget Committee up or down vote be on the town warrant.
And I think we got a lot of emails this weekend too, so if there are people watching, I think,
Yeah,
we hear you, it's important, we know it's important, and I think, to your point, we don't have to vote on it because it's not against the charter, if you will, or change to the charter, but it is an agreement, will be documented that the Budget Committee will have an up or down vote on the budget, on the warrant.
Yep.
So, just to clarify, there's nothing that says we can't have the Budget Committee's up or down vote on the town warrant.
That's correct.
Black and white, no ambiguity about that.
No ambiguity from our lawyer.
Generally speaking, is it fair, does anybody on the Select Board feel that they couldn't support that?
I support
Having
as I
it.
just said.
Yes,
support
okay,
having
I
it.
just
support having
want to,
Yeah, you're just
Kinda-
making sure we're,
it's like a straw poll.
Right.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
all
So-
five of us support
And
that.
at the next meeting, we can, because it's a discussion item in this meeting, we're here to discuss it, and we can make it an action item at the next meeting in a month.
I don't,
Well, and
do
I don't
we
even
have
think we
to?
need
I
to,
don't think
because
we
I
have
think
to.
we're going on record publicly that we support this, the charter allows it.
Okay, as long as we're clear on that.
Yeah.
And is that's based on the attorney's review?
He says the charter, the
That's-
term recommendations means this.
Because we were waiting on that. I
Yeah.
think. Okay, good.
So to go into some other aspects of the Budget Committee's recommendations, which had to do with the recommendations and what would they look like. I think we have the technology and the ability today, where in the past we'd have a town meeting, we'd all be upstairs here, and you'd kind of get a chance to hear everybody going back and forth and hear both sides of the argument. One of my concerns is, when you get a Budget Committee vote of, say, of 7 people, for instance, 5 in favor, 2 against, or 4 in favor, 3 against, that you only really see that. And I'm really interested, and I think everybody'd be interested to see, well, why did the 4 people feel
Right,
that
the
way, and why
reason.
did the
Right.
3 people feel that way? So my thought is that I'd love to have a discussion with the Budget Committee about, can we provide space on the town website, for instance, to have both groups represented, so we can hear both sides of the conversation outside of a meeting conversation. Like, okay, if 3 of you voted that way, can you get together and explain
Why you did.
why you did it that way?
Yeah.
If 4 voted this way, why did you do it that way? That would be really helpful,
Sure.
and it would really inform people,
And I
whether
would
they,
hope we would know, if the budget process works the way we hope it works, that I'm not saying there's not a need for voters and residents, but I would hope that the select board, that there was back and forth. So maybe we didn't agree, and some of the budget committee members wanted a particular change, and we didn't agree with it. And as a result, they voted the budget down. And I'm just sort of echoing what I was saying earlier, is I hope we're not going to just have silence and then a no vote.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
that there'll
that's the worst, because you don't know
Right.
what part of that don't they like? Do they just not like that we're spending that much on copy paper, or are they,
Right.
are they really opposed to?
And we want to work with them. We're not interested in a sort of a unilateral budget, that it's a take it or leave it. This is a document that I think the town will benefit from having input and action taken in response to budget committee member requests.
So I think the question I had, and I mentioned to you earlier, I am not opposed to the up or down vote whatsoever. I think it's great. But our process is, we get together both as a select board and a budget committee, go over it, and then the budget committee meets. I mean, obviously, if it
Yeah, we'll have
goes
to
the way it's
sort of work
supposed,
out.
if it works the way it's supposed to, we'll have these conversations during the joint meetings so that the budget committee knows where we're coming from, we know where the budget committee is coming from. So then when the budget committee has their meeting at the end of this process, that's generally when they formalize their list of recommendations, if any, to bring to the select board. If they bring us a list of recommendations, select board says, no, we're not going with any of those, and we do our vote to approve the budget, at what point does the budget, do we take their vote prior to the select board meeting? I mean, that's
And then
where
we'll have
the
to work
gray
that
area
out
is
with
big.
the
Yeah, we're
budget
gonna work out
committee.
the logistics of that.
Figure out
because-
with the budget committee.
Right,
how they
know,
so
want
that
to
everybody
work.
has ample amount of time to respond to
Right.
the recommendations. It's not, oh, you give us a list of recommendations, we don't do anything with them, we vote to accept it as it is, yet then you're gonna,
have a
vote because we
down
didn't,
vote.
do anything about
Or
it, right?
we accept half of them, or
Right,
most of
right,
them, but
right,
not
right.
So
all of them.
logistically, we're gonna have to
Yeah, we
figure
don't
that out.
know, we don't know what's significant, really, at
Right.
the end of the day, so.
So maybe,
Craig.
anybody else I want to give everybody a chance to talk if you want, or we can have Craig come up.
No.
Come on up, Craig.
I believe in the past, the way it's gone is everyone meets as a round table, and then the budget committee comes back together, makes recommendations, sends that to the select board. The select board makes their decisions based on the overall budget and the recommendations. Then that goes back to the budget committee to vote on.
To
Because then
vote
that
up or
way they
down.
can say, we made recommendations, but we voted on what you all approved. That way it's not voting on two different
Yeah,
lines. I
that's
guess.
probably how it's going to, yeah.
Yeah, that's
At that-
generally how it has worked, Craig,
At that
but-
point, though, is there
Yeah, I'd
opportunity
still
to
wish
get
there
back
was-
together and
I
go
mean, I
and
think
to
that's the
discuss the
question, yeah.
differences?
I think, John's talked about a straw poll, or getting a sense of, because in the past, it's actually been my experience when we get recommendations. I looked back at some of the warrant articles. The last time we had specific recommendations, 2 of them were to increase the budget, and 1 was to reduce the budget. And the select board declined to increase the budget, but did accept the reduction. So it just the question is there any other opportunity from the budget committee's recommendations to the select board to have some back and forth? And
Yeah.
figure out which are the ones you want to die on, and which ones are like, well, some people thought this would be a good idea, so.
Yeah, and so part of this, I'm wondering, should we schedule a workshop with the budget committee to kind of go through the
I think we'll
process? How do we want to go forward with this?
I think John had some
'Cause
ideas
I don't
that we
think,
might
I don't think
have
there's
a-
going to be a lot of disagreement about some of these points.
Right.
It's
No,
just a
we
matter
just
of
wanna-
working out the details.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we initially have that first meeting where the budget books are announced, and we sort of briefly go through the whole, a once-over of every topic to get some familiarity, particularly for when you have new members, a lot of new members. That doesn't take that long, and I think you potentially could have some sort of joint workshop to talk about,
this kind of stuff.
right, like, let's talk about the end. Okay, you have the book, now how do we feel about what that, once some of these bigger issues are out of the way, and if, all of you are sort of saying, yeah, we're okay with some sort of final number or final statement or whatever you want to put it. the everything in between part is is sort of the squishy middle of this that has to get discussed and, trying to work through with, everybody and ensure, the importance of those recommendations of, okay, I've got 3, we've got 10, we've got 4. Last year there was 0 that came before the select board. Those have meaning, and so, there's that part of it. But I think that's only a conversation the 5 of you and the 9 of them can have in one place at the same time.
So that initial meeting sounds like a good opportunity to
Yeah,
really go through that.
I think so. The other thing I want to mention, in terms of timing and in terms of how this all works, and just as part of where things went awry in the past, the first couple, I think the first year, or at least the first couple of years before it was noticed, the budget committee was meeting after the select board met to finalize the warrant. And that was really the issue that broke this into a need of looking at charters and looking at different things. Because once the board has set the warrant, everything that's on that warrant, recommendations, up, down, in between, if it's not on there then, it doesn't occur. And so that was occurring the last time this happened and beyond, and I don't know how long beyond because that was before I was here. But it had been going on for a long time, from what I understand. So as a result, those recommendations were put on after the board had actually set the warrant and set their budget. So that's why we started down this road of some difficulty. Is there a way, just as Craig said, to be able to get that feedback in of a final budget? Sure, absolutely. But that wasn't the process, and sort of that's where things started to fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're all trying to do, at least I think we are, is come to an agreement. Like, we shouldn't be that far off between the two bodies. So, I can't, I think if we're all looking at the same information, it would seem we'd all come to the same conclusions. So I'm working with that as a spirit of this whole process and a goal. So I hope everybody else is thinking that way too.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will have an up-down vote
Up-down vote
on the budget,
on the budget,
on the warrant, sorry.
on the warrant article. Will be seen. Good, okay. So, select board, thank you for coming.
Well, we're
Select
going to have an
board.
up-down vote. I'm doing budget committee. We're going to have an up-down vote on the budget. But no, in all seriousness, I think so the budget committee didn't meet at the beginning of the month. They didn't feel that there was a need to do that for this month. And we will get into our scheduled budget meeting starting in March, so.
And when will we have those meeting dates, John, or how will?
Well, now that we're through tonight, we'll be working on budget and putting the document together. So one of the first things after that is to get the dates out.
Yeah, just so people can clear their calendars.
Well, we were waiting for a list from the budget committee too, if there were some conflicts that that Clay was trying to get. Craig, it's stuck though, sorry. I won't put that on you, I won't put Clay on you there. But,
Get you too confused.
But Clay, not Craig, was trying to wrangle some dates together. So, I don't know if he's gotten them all together yet or not, but I know there were some emails I saw.
What's the bracket time that we're looking at that people might let you know if they're?
March.
Okay.
March and the first 2 weeks of April.
Right, okay.
That 6-week period is the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Michael, any liaison reports? Not to put you on the spot, just moving along. Okay. Jim?
Sorry. Harbor Committee met January 21st. We had Bob Colmar, Jan Rosenbaum, and Orion there. Bob and Jan went over some of the comp plan implementation list of items for the Harbor Committee, which all totally makes sense as far as being connected with the harbor. The biggest part of the discussion came from a couple of members, is that the Harbor Committee was an advisory committee to the Harbor Master. As it was referred to earlier, Implementation Committee has kind of, they're kind of reorganizing the names and the blocks on who does what, or who's responsible for what task. So the Harbor Committee was like, well, we're an advisory to the Harbor Master, so it really should be the Harbor Master or not us, but, so I don't know where the clarification comes on that. A couple of the other questions that came up were, okay, here's a list of items, but where are the measurables? Who do we report to? Who follows up on it and makes sure it happens? Which I think are all very good, valid questions. I mean, yes, we have this comp plan, and, both Jan and Bob were kind of like, well, kind of honor system type of thing at this point. So, I mean, I think that's a good, it's a good thing to look at, as far as, hey, who's gonna check in and say, how you doing on this? Is that gonna be the implementation committee, or is it gonna be somebody else? So that's something to look at a little further down the road. Next thing he talked about was the bridge. Orion gave an update on that. He was hoping for an engineering plan from MDOT by the end of the month.
So do we have a date for the bridge?
No.
No.
Okay.
The
I'm starting to worry the sidewalk's getting it just keeps
Yeah.
getting deeper and deeper.
The Harbor Committee was asked to let Orion know of areas of concern, like how's it gonna affect Elver fishing and storage below the bridge and that sort of thing. Orion gave us a hopeful timeline of starting in the fall of '26 and finishing in '27, and the goal is less than a year. But one of the things he said that hinges on that, on whether we do a complete street closure versus a one lane. If you can do the complete closure, wham, bam, done-ish. But, he wasn't holding his breath on that, less than a year. And then on the working waterfront now, right? Not Harbor Task Force, working waterfront. Bob reported the RFP for engineering for the east side of the harbor had been sent out, and the responses were due by the 6th. Hopefully, they came in.
Meeting tomorrow on that.
Excellent. And then the harbor master gave her report, said Holiday on the Harbor was a great success. They've got lots of great reports and reviews, so that's good. I mean, it really was a fantastic.
Great.
It was. I mean, especially with the floats out of the way, it made a much more pleasant event, and there were lots of people, and it was cold, and as John referred to earlier, the online mooring program is ready to go, but inland fisheries is not, because they have the stickers. So that's the holdup on that. The other cool thing is Northeastern University, they had a wave buoy they were working with, and now they don't need it. So is it essentially the town's property on that? Do you remember on the wave buoy?
That's my neighbor, Sam Lowry.
But anyway, there's a wave buoy. It's out on a mooring. It measures height and tide, and I guess at some point, at no cost to the town, it will be ours. Maybe.
It's been abandoned.
Is that what it is?
Well, I think it was used for work over in Camden, and they're done with what they're doing, and my neighbor, Sam Lowry, is
Yes.
like, oh, free buoy, cool, let's grab it.
Okay. Yeah, so he's kind of,
Who's collecting the data in it?
Sam,
Sam, okay.
Sam's, yeah,
Well,
he's,
we're not losing data.
no, he's collecting the data, so he's kind of, so, that's kind of yeah. And then the other question that came up was about the harbor rules. They weren't sure which copy of the harbor rules that the board had, but I did discuss with them about working in the suggestions from the strategic task force, incorporating those recommendations into the harbor rules. And I don't know as if we actually did finally vote on harbor rules, because I think there was something to do with parks and beautification. There was something so it was kind of like pushed back, and it's like, hey, you guys talk, and then figure it out. So I think once they get that incorporated, they'll be bringing it back to the board to vote on.
Okay.
So the only part, like, you wanted to, you liked having the comprehensive plan section in there. I'm not sure how that's gonna all work out, because there was kind of a pushback about the fact that it's an advisory committee and not really,
Well, every committee pretty much is advisory, so it really, you're right, it goes back to
yeah.
Abby as the staff person.
right,
You know.
so, yeah.
Good. John? Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, it's actually a good segue to the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Task Force report. Members of the task force are making the rounds. Bob and Jen have had meetings with a couple and have scheduled meetings with Conservation Committee, the Pathways Committee. They've already done Harbor Master, the Boat Club, and the Harbor Strategic Plan Task Force. Those are all scheduled, Bob?
EDC, those are all done.
Oh, those are all done, I'm sorry, okay. But the whole task force is really optimistic and energetic, and as you're starting to see, the work plans are starting to incorporate the goals. So what more could we ask for? So they're off to a good start. Their next meeting is February 23rd at 9:30 here in this room. So, anything more, Bob, on that? Okay. Planning Board, there were no applications this month, so the chair transitioned the regular meeting again into a workshop to discuss possible amendments to the land use ordinance to continue to bring it in alignment with the goals expressed in the comp plan. Among the amendments being discussed are the maximum building height calculation. It gets into the weeds pretty quickly here, but it's an important issue as to where you actually measure building height relative to the terrain. So they're working on that, and then there's zoning map adjustments, which are based on the EDC recommendations to align it with the recently approved growth zones. It's basically what I would call nip and tuck on, the zoning map. So the Planning Board would like to schedule a joint Select Board, Planning Board, EDC workshop to discuss ordinance changes as it relates to the housing trends we're experiencing. So I just would love to put that on our to-do list as a Select Board. I think it would be really helpful to bring the three bodies together and really try to, there's so much there that, kind of, what do you do first, second, and third?
Yeah.
So that's it on the task force and the Planning Board. I'm also a liaison to the Mid-Coast Council of Governments, which recently involved going to the Rowe Institute's Municipal Innovation Day, which I was happy to attend with Orion. The Rowe Institute is an amazing organization.
Rue.
Is it Rue? I knew I'd get that wrong. Okay. But the reputation precedes it. It's really been on the cutting edge of innovation in business and in this case, municipalities in Maine. But among the takeaways, I just want to quickly recap. They were really starting to focus on how to use AI to, make yourself more efficient as a government and as a service to the community. So there's things like, we could do relatively easily. I don't know what some of the devils are in the details of this, but, we could be featuring an AI bot on the town's website. John's chuckling.
Yes.
Which, I've been, anybody who's been using them, it's amazing. And it really opens the door to 24/7 answers to questions. So night or day, if people have a question, we could probably have the bot take care of answering it.
We got a naming contest. Too.
What's that?
A naming contest.
For the bot?
Oh, yeah. They have to have a name.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, I got some
Ours
Rufus.
at work is Erica.
Yeah, I have
So-
Rufus coming up on my Microsoft stuff.
Well, there's some other interesting applications when you get into AI. It's like under the theme of meeting residents where they'll hear your message, which is what we always struggle with, because we have so many different demographics and so many different levels of, I don't know, technological sophistication, if you will. We could easily use an AI bot or a technology to explain ordinances based on the resident's preference.
Well, it would be great because I work in AI law,
Yeah.
for someone to be able to go in and say, I live at whatever, West Street. How high can my building be? Like, you can go in and ask those questions and in
Exactly.
seconds have the answer versus having to pull up the document today and go in and figure out, well, what zone am I in?
Yeah.
Okay, what's my, so the ability to build a bot or an AI engine or any of that to be able to do that, comes with a lot of prompting and teaching people how to prompt to get what they want. But, ChatGPT, if any of you are using that, is a great example that you can go in. I could say, I'm going to Italy for 3 days, give me an itinerary, and with seconds, it's done.
Yep.
And that's what we should be working towards as a community is, how do we get the information to people so that they don't have to go out and search for it? And if I want to build an accessory dwelling, what are the rules? Well, I say, I want to build an accessory dwelling at 125 Main Street. Here's all the rules. Here's the
Yeah.
application. Let us help you fill it out. Like all of those things that today AI can do for you very quickly, and then tomorrow will be milliseconds to be able to do it.
Yeah,
And that's where we should start to be thinking about how do we get to that? What are the tools that we can use? It's not cheap, it's not free.
Right, you have to set up.
You've got to get it set up, you need an expert to help with that, but we should be working towards that.
Yeah.
Is that-
I want to register my dog. Oh, here you go.
Does that
There
make
you
it
go.
contingent on having all accurate information on the website? currently?
Yeah, so I mean, you
think
gotta
that-
have, right, you gotta have the right documents, you gotta
update it.
have it, you can't be pulling information from a 2005 document that's still out there
Right.
because it's stuck in the interwebs
That's
somewhere.
exactly right.
Versus your 2026 document, so, yeah.
All right. I like some of the aspects of, say you've got something coming up on a town warrant, being able to have, people could go in there and say, look, I'm an out-of-state, they can give their profile. Like, I live out of state, I have a second home, how would this affect me?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Or
Right.
they say, look, I'm barely computer literate, can you give me this in
Right.
language I can understand?
The other
what
thing
this-
is the ordinances, right? We put on the
Exactly.
warrant for them to accept an ordinance. Wouldn't it be great to say, what changed? Oh, boom, here, I don't have to
Right.
read it, I've got a summary.
Yeah.
So
and,
there's a lot of opportunity with that, I completely agree with you.
Yep. There's some other stuff that John will like. The Yarmouth Town Manager, he currently provides a weekly, and this is under the heading of a big exercise we did on what they call the Idea Jam at RU, which is kind of their trademark process for generating ideas. But some of it's not particularly revolutionary, but the Yarmouth Town Manager brought in a backgrounder video that he does every week. It's called the Friday Five. Have you seen this, John?
No.
You'd probably like it.
Oh,
I think
dear.
and
They
he,
put it on their website, or? where do
yeah,
they put
it's
it?
up on their website every week. And it's the town manager, or when he's on vacation, the public works director takes over, or whatever. And it's not like a slick production. It's basically, the town manager standing with the town clerk, and they're talking about dog license applications,
Registered
or whatever it
dog.
is. Some of it can be really basic, and some of it, but it's,
Yeah.
and it's only like 2-3 minutes, kind of something, a change that's going on in the way we do things in the town. Here's a little background, or, what's,
Does that get sent out to the residents, or do they need to know to go to the website?
well, I think it's on Substack, so you can subscribe to it. But it's all, it's also, it's on YouTube,
Yeah,
so it's
Yeah.
posted, framed on the town website, but it's hosted
Yeah,
on
Substack's
YouTube.
great.
Yeah. There's a lot of focus. We had breakout groups, and they got to choose their own problem they can solve, municipal problem, and make it more efficient. And almost half of the groups, of 9 groups, were focused on better communication with town residents. Sound familiar? So that's where the AI technology kept coming in spades. And just reading through some of these other notes. There were some low-tech communication solutions, it wasn't all, just invest in technology, although that's an important part of it. But there's other towns that are actually creating information ambassadors, who are people that are willing, they're basically influencers, if you will, only they're not doing it online, they're doing it like in their communities. They're micro communities of friends. They're hosting house parties, and it's their job is to be informed of certain town issues to where they can represent it and carry it forward to other residents in an informed way. So it helps a lot in the misinformation category. It diminishes a lot of people getting the wrong information and drawing conclusions, that aren't there to be drawn. So it was a very good day. There were probably over 200 attendees for the day from all over the state of Maine. So, it was good. It's good for us to be represented. I was pleased to be there.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, John.
And I would recommend it if you guys ever want to do it the next time around. I'm sure they'll do it again.
Yeah, it's great to have them investing in our state this way. Let's see, I've got meetings coming up this week with Parks and Library Committee, MIDC, Midcoast Internet Development Corporation with the Axiom Fiber Build.
I saw you using an Axiom pen, so
I know, I
got some swag.
get whatever swag I can. So they are, I think any day now, are ready to turn on Axiom Fiber to the GWI, existing fiber network in town. And I think end of March is what they're looking for the build out in the village. And then that will start generating some more income to continue the build out. So it's very exciting. 58 residences have signed up so far, looking for more, because the rates are so affordable, but they can do that if they get a good take rate.
So will they actually be hanging cable or fiber?
Yeah.
So in March?
Yeah, and I've seen their trucks have been in the old GWI area already.
Are they identified as Axiom trucks?
No.
Or are they subcontractors?
Subcontractors, yeah.
They contract out.
And I've seen them on Pascal Ave too.
Yeah.
They're starting prepping. But,
Yeah. So the significant thing in terms of timing is installation is free if people sign up in time for this initial build, because the trucks are already there, the guys are there, the equipment's there. People who, and that would be, say, by the end of March, people who wait till the summer and want to wait and see how it plays out with their neighbors and say, I think I want that too. I mean, it's $50 a month for 1,000 megabits per second. So it's a great deal. And that's not an introductory rate. That is what it costs. I mean, that's what your ongoing bill will be. But the install, once they have had all their trucks here and done it, and somebody calls them in May and says, okay, now I'm ready, it'll be somewhere between $300 and $500 for that install, because they'll have to bring the trucks back, put the fiber into the house, put in the electronics. So there is an incentive to sign up now if you're in the area where this service is being offered. And then as well as they will be contributing money from each, this is a collaboration between the town of Rockport and Axiom, so I just want to make sure there's some benefit to the town of Rockport for new customers. That's sort of why I'm touting this, because I'm a huge fan of Axiom's, although it is a small local Maine company. So that's what I got. Anybody else? Anything?
Denise?
Yeah.
I happened to be watching the Town of Camden Select Board meeting on the 20th, and Mark Ratner was there from Knox County Commissioners. I thought I'd just pass along that he told their board that the county is going to be creating a fire EMS coordinator position. to oversee and work with the individual town fire EMS departments to ensure there's better communication going forward.
Oh, great.
So the good news is the county's,
Could
you
have
know,
stepped into that area.
seen an issue that they can help, you know, provide some facilitation and coordination countywide and, you know, just, it's not like it's a huge problem, but we don't want it to ever be a problem.
No, and I think the county can serve in that kind of role, so that's great. And Mark has a particular background in that area, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Then I just had one other question, I guess for John.
Quick question on that?
Yeah,
Is that gonna? Used to
We've
this.
got you trained.
Yeah. Is that gonna be up to the select board to join that? Or is that gonna be up to the,
that's a county position. We don't really,
no, but they're offering a service, right? For the,
well, we pay for it. We don't have, it's not an à la carte thing, if that's your question.
are we gonna give EMS an option to join that? Or are we gonna ask EMS to join that? That's where I'm going with this question.
I don't think they're that far along in their thinking. Mark was just saying that he's seen the need to have better communication with, among the towns, and that the county is gonna create this coordinator position.
So like a liaison to work
Yeah, it's
across.
mostly just,
I think it's great, but I just only think it's gonna be as good as it's received.
Yes.
well, yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, there's a lot of issues still there, but this is this is
I think it's
going
great.
towards a
That's what I'm saying.
solution.
Yep.
so.
I
And
would,
as soon as the county can have a
I
budget to
would
create
tell
a
you
new
head
position.
tomorrow, John.
Got it.
The only other thing I had was, John, a while ago, you've heard me ask about this before. We approved a poll ordinance
Yes.
back in 2024.
Yep. Yeah, 24, yeah, November 24?
So
Would have been?
I'm still
Yeah.
driving down Route 1, and
Right.
not like I'm counting, but there's over 50 poles that
Sure.
are doubling up there and have
Sure.
been for a long time.
Sure. Yep.
What do we do about stuff like that?
Well, we need to have room for code enforcement and/or our public works department's leadership to be able to work together to go along and count polls and send a list to.
John already counted them.
Right, so.
I'll give the list.
I'll gladly take any list you have.
Okay.
But really, it takes to working with Spectrum, Consolidated, CMP, but largely Consolidated and Spectrum are the problem children. And to get them to move to their new poles that already exist, but they are too
I mean-
lazy or not motivated to move to.
I mean, I'm not kidding, between
I
Camden
know,
and Rockland,
yeah.
there's 50 at least.
I know, I don't disagree with
I
you.
mean, I stopped counting.
Yeah, no, right. It's not because you couldn't either, right? No, it's a problem, and it's a capacity issue, and we've got other things that are more important right now. But it's on the books. We need to deal with it. But
Well, I
You
think
know.
it could just be something where we know who's hanging on the pole, and you just send a get moving letter to 3 different companies. And
yeah, I think you.
Remind
But I
them
think
of
you
the
know
ordinance.
where. So you take a list and you say who is that, and these are the spots, and yeah. I mean, I don't think it's. I don't think it's a long-term project, but means you got to not do something else you're already doing.
Right.
And that's sort of the problem right now, is everyone's doing something. They're plowing snow.
Or individuals can call, because a
Absolutely.
neighbor here was
That
able
works.
to successfully get rid of a pole. So if you have that going on in your neighborhood, she was able to get the extra pole out of the way. Mechanic Street's full of double poles.
We're still using trees in West Rock.
That's right. We have electricity over there? I didn't even think we had that yet.
Ooh, that's good. All right, anything else? We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Great. Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for coming.
All right, all. Thank you.
Stay warm.
Yes.